Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Story Archives. I am your host, Mario Busto, alongside
the other host, Zachary Newton, with a nice old-fashioned and some really shitty internet today. So, here we go.
Hey, it's all right. We're back with episode 6 of Three Body Problem, titled The Stars Are Our Destination. And, there's lots of ways to spend 20 million pounds, or dollars if you're from the States. I don't know if I would have done it on this. I'll be honest with you. I don't
you don't
know
want to buy a star?
if I would have.
I mean,
your internet's already crapping right now. I don't know if I would have bought a star necessarily, but but I don't know what all of the, how do I say this? What all the perks are, or what this is going to turn into as being significant in the series. So I'll reserve my judgment against Will for not even giving any of his friends any money. I'm assuming Will does not have a good family, or maybe just dislikes his family. Because to literally donate 19.5 million pounds is kind of the most reckless thing one could do, in my opinion.
Man, it's a lot of money.
Dude, I mean, it's not like the Santi are showing up tomorrow.
No.
I mean, it's 400 years. You could do a lot of good rather than just donating it all. I mean, find a way to make that money multiply, But, he's thinking as somebody who's going to die. And I would hate for his character to die, but, we'll see what happens, I guess, right?
Yeah, I don't know if his character is going to die or not. I'm still waiting for him to, do something. And I don't think donating all of his money was it, I'm sure there was he's contributing to everybody that's pouring money into this war that is likely going to happen in 400 years, but this can't be it, man. There's no freaking way that this is all Will does. Will's got to come up with some crazy shit. I don't know what it's going to be, but I think it's going to be pretty epic in the show.
Yeah, I mean, I would certainly hope that this is not the cop-out Will's fighting back in his own way and he's just going to donate this money type of thing. I mean, I honestly, if you think about a scenario like this, the Santi coming to invade the Earth in 400 years, I couldn't think of there's a lot of scam nonprofits out there that steal money and funnel it. I mean, remember the Haiti earthquakes? There's a huge, there's still ongoing investigation as to where that money went, I think. But what's a better scam nonprofit scenario than buy a star? And
there's a war that's going to happen in 400 years, centuries after you're dead, your children are dead, and your grandchildren are dead. Man, that's pretty damn good. Who's going to fight that? The grandchildren that never got the money? I don't think so.
Call me cynical or skeptical, but I may not be donating to the first organization that springs up directly after the announcement, right? I mean, this is kind of the days after the Santi alien thing has occurred. Just call me a little cynical, but I think it's a nice way to line your pockets, that's for sure, if you got some bad intentions, because whether you like it or not, after a major tragedy, alongside all of the help initiatives, that's also where the scammers get the alert too. So they rise up to do their thing and scam like pieces of crap that they are. But nonetheless, I would hope Will has a better fight back moment than just taking the train all the way to London, seeing his girl hugging Raj, and then just kind of sulking back to the cottage by the sea. So not my favorite Will episode so far.
No, it's not my favorite Will episode, and it felt weird. This is the first episode that I think I've watched so far where he's actually felt close to death. I don't know, I'm sure you've noticed it, but he was very, very pale in this episode, more so than in anything else that I've seen him in so far in this show. So, I
respect how at peace he is. I respect.
At peace, but he's pounding McAllen. So,
but he's staring death in the face. You can't judge someone for how he's reacting.
That's got to be a ridiculous thing to cope with.
Yeah. Hey, during COVID, everybody was hoarding toilet paper and paper towels and stuff. apparently that's a thing again with the Santi, because they go to the gas station, everything's gone. Apparently alcohol is really hard to come by, which is not that surprising.
It's not.
Although it kind of reminded me of, like, when Clarence is walking through the streets of London and he sees people like hanging themselves from the signpost.
Yeah.
I mean, London is in absolute mayhem. That's kind of like the world is in mayhem, actually. And that's kind of what the whole show's trying to insinuate in the opening montage. But kind of reminded me of, there was like this famous radio program, The War of the Worlds. Orson Welles did it. And back then, people just didn't know any better. So it was kind of like a scenario like the Santi, except it was fake. And so they were listening to this radio program, and everybody thought aliens were actually invading and taking people out across the nation and the world. And people did kill themselves, apparently, because of just the despair that they went into. Yeah.
Did you say War of the Worlds? Did you say War of the Worlds was from what was his name? Sorry?
Orson Welles.
Orson Welles. Interesting. I had no idea. I bought one of his books recently. But
it's written by H.G. Wells, but I think Orson Welles did the radio program.
Interesting.
So I believe. Hold on, let me see.
Well, you learn something new every day.
War of the Worlds was a Halloween episode of the radio series The Mercury Theater on the Air, directed and narrated by Orson Welles, as an adaptation of H.G. Wells' novel The War of the Worlds that was performed on broadcast live at 8 p.m. on October 30th, 1938. So, it's pretty infamous if you look it up. It's pretty interesting too.
Okay. Well, you learn something new every day. I will say though, I am actually happy that we finally had mass panic in this show.
Yeah.
I guess if the freaking universe blinking at you wasn't enough, the universe's eyeball is what finally does it.
Yeah, if this didn't merit a freak out, if everyone was just at the water cooler on Monday, like, hey, you heard about that?
Did you see that thing yesterday? Weird, huh?
Yeah, you heard about them? They're apparently 400 years out, but how would they truly? You know what I mean? They're just talking nonchalantly about this. We get a lot of Ye Wenji in this episode. Jin meets with her, Clarence meets with her, and then Ye hasn't been the same since she got that whole "you're a bug" message on her little audio recorder. And I have a feeling here that she's sort of changed allegiances. She's on the human side now.
I don't think so, man. Did you not see the way that this episode ended? She goes back to praying to their Lord in a prayer.
Oh no!
That felt like
no. That's not what
it was to prevent humans from rising up against them. That's what that felt like to me.
No. That's not what that was. That was.
What do you think it was?
That was the opposite. That was her sending a threat to them, saying, I have a few ideas left. And she even admits that her past beliefs are the reason that she did what she did. Which was the comment I made, which was like, hey, how about like somebody from communist China doesn't make this decision on behalf of the whole world? Because, I mean, to deal with the scenario that she dealt with in the 1950s or 60s or whenever that was, to then spread that across as every single existence on Earth being horrible is just not accurate.
I might have to disagree with you on this one, because
let's make that bet. Let's make that bet right now, Zach. I need redemption on something here,
dude.
I need redemption.
Man, you're doing it because it's probably the whiskey talking, but I'll make the bet. Right, like so. I right now what I'm betting is, as of episode 6, Ye Wenji is essentially still on the side of the Santi. I think that she's, saying a prayer, if you will, calling upon the Santi. I think she's trying to. I think her threats, as you called them, were merely to evoke a response. I feel like she wants herself to be safe or something. I don't know. I didn't see this as I have now switched to the other side. Sort of moment for her. It doesn't feel right to me.
All right,
so I'll take the bet.
My bet is that she has switched allegiances, so mark it down for the record.
I'm pulling up my notes.
She's on the human side. I don't think she hates the Santi necessarily, but I think as of right now, she's on the side of helping defeat them.
All right, so I want to be clear. It is that she has switched allegiances
as of now
in this episode. Yes. Okay, cool. All right.
I'm not saying she won't switch back. I'm saying that as of now, she has switched.
Yeah, and I'm not saying she won't switch in the future. I think anything's possible. I don't think this was the moment. So I'm writing it down. Proceed.
I think there's a lot of things that happened with Wenji. I think she was humbled, from really, really smug to humble, in an episode's time, really. And she admits now that the aliens are not here to collaborate or to cooperate with humans. They're now coming to destroy them. So I think that she's reconciling all of that, and half of this episode is her just trying to come to grips with the fact that she is doing a 180 on what her beliefs were. She does talk to Clarence later in the episode when he questions her about why did Vera jump? Because she wasn't killed. She didn't play the game. And her explanation is that she was very good with computers, and she pretty much unearthed Wenji's messages to Evans. And I guess from that, the insinuation is that she found out her mom was like spearheading an alien takeover of Earth. But I don't know. I still feel like the full story is not out yet on why Vera jumped.
Yeah,
I'm not fully buying that explanation yet.
No,
I think there's a little more to the story. I don't even know if Wenji knows the full story, but I'm hoping that we get more clarity as to why she did, because that was a pretty major catalyst to kick off the show.
Oh, it was huge, and I completely agree with everything you said. Right, like even if that were the case, that she I guess figured out some communication between Ye and Evans, and she knew what was going on. Like, I mean, I was going to ask you the hypothetical, Mario, of what would you do if you found out your mother was talking to an alien race trying to take over the entire Earth? You'd probably confront her first before you off to yourself. That's kind of a big decision to make there, don't you think?
Yeah, I don't think that her motivation was from that. I don't. Now, I mean, there are stories about, like, the whole Enron situation of the guy who scammed people. I think it was it Enron?
That sounds extremely familiar.
It was a Ponzi scheme thing. There's like a documentary about it and a movie. That guy's kids killed themselves.
Wow.
Or one of the sons killed themselves. And you could kind of see how that makes sense, like the absolute dishonor, right? That would be brought upon your family, right? If something happened like that and you were in the family business and your dad lied to you, and you could see how somebody could do that. But no, I don't think Vera killed herself for that reason. I don't know. What would you do in that situation?
In the situation of my mother talking to an alien race?
Yeah, your mom is literally in charge.
Yeah.
She's in charge
the
of
planet Earth.
Yeah, she's in charge of the Santis.
I'd probably have like a WTF, like come to Jesus sort of conversation and be like, what is this?
Yeah.
Before I did anything else to myself, I mean, like, it's just, that's so out there. Like, I would have too many questions before I would just decide, like, no, this is it. This was too much.
Well, and being that it's you, it's not completely off the table that you might join her in helping spearhead the alien invasion.
Absolutely. You never know. I mean,
I think a new purpose would emerge, though, for Vera, that she would kind of mobilize and try to fight back against her mother. But maybe Ye's right. She said that Vera wasn't strong enough, right? So
she could be weak.
This is what she meant.
We didn't really get a lot of time to.
I just don't see how that ties in. I don't see how that ties in with the whole question to Saul, of do you believe in God? I don't know. Something's missing there. I don't know what it is, but something is missing there. Yeah. Maybe she came to a deeper truth than everybody else. And that would be really dark if she did come upon a truth and then killed herself because of it. But
yeah,
we'll see. There also, Wenji doesn't explicitly deny being behind the order to kill Jack.
No, she doesn't.
FYI.
Yeah, she's very quiet on that, which is crazy. I mean, yeah. Jin coming in with all of the good questions too. Like, Jin came into this episode asking all of the questions that I think you and I asked last episode right up front. I'm like, damn, thank you. But we didn't get an answer to a lot of them, unfortunately.
Yeah, she was still quiet. And, she had to be, because if she would have said, yeah, I ordered it, then that's a murder charge.
All right, hold on, though, about this, right? Because there was a moment in this episode where Ye was like, oh, you haven't charged me for anything.
Yes.
Would she not have been charged for treason? Like, you are...
Well, I think it's absolutely that she could have been charged with treason. But
yeah.
If you think about it, if you're in Wade's position, how is she most valuable to you? Is it in a cell, or is it seeing what she does outside in the open?
No, I'm with you. I mean, I saw her getting tailed as well. Look, her story's clearly not done. Like, this was not the end of it. I find it hard to believe that some government entity was not trying to try her for treason. So I'd be like, yeah, that's the charge.
So we have to think about this. We have to think about this from her perspective prior to the "you are a bug" thing.
Yeah.
All of this leading up to, in her entire life, she thought that she was doing the right thing. She thought the Santi would come and save everybody. She even says to Wade, when they get here, you will be so thankful.
Yeah.
She genuinely believed that 100%. They were coming to make the world a better place. This is not somebody who was operating because she hated humans. She was operating because she loves humans and thought that that the Santi would be the way to manage ourselves better than we do, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's totally makes sense. But now once that goes out the window, when you get the "you're a bug" message, everything has to change after that.
Look,
by the way, I want to make a mention of something here from the last episode. We're going to talk about bets.
Okay.
We had somebody agree with me that Auggie did not, what's the word I'm looking for? She did not defy
the countdown. Who agreed with that?
Somebody rational and logical did.
Was it Eric?
Maybe. I'm not sure. We have to go to the Spotify. They interacted on the actual podcast.
Oh, I didn't see
hey, if you're listening out there and you want to chime in on the show, your opinions, some of the wagers we got going, please feel free to do so, and especially if you're on my side. All right. Continuing on here. Witchwood Manor is now the new HQ for Wade's agency. We still don't have a name for that, but they're working on a space fleet. Essentially, they're trying to develop light speed as soon as possible, or 1%.
No, yeah, speed. Not light speed, bro. That's pretty far off. 1% of
1% light speed, so that they can send a probe out to get some intel reconnaissance on the Santi, and the plot develops on that later in the episode. But Wade's dealing kind of with this small-minded box thinking from the engineers on his staff. They're too concerned about feasibility and not concerned about how to make shit happen the way true problem solvers do. So he calls upon Jin, who comes up with this incredible idea to have a chain of 1,000 timed nuclear bombed explosions in space to propel a nuclear sail, all in an effort to catch up to the Santi fleet.
Yeah. I loved her idea, and working in tech, that kind of resonates with me. Too concerned about practicality and not trying to, break the box.
I think, there's a lesson to learn to not be like these engineers. I mean, I think these engineers serve their purpose to be defied and to work on the team and always just be proven wrong over and over again. But, I was driving in traffic yesterday, and I was thinking to myself, our highway systems,
they're horrible.
We're thinking in such a small box limit. Like, we need to put problem solvers in charge of solving traffic issues and just give them unlimited resources to do so. I mean, it was a log jam to get to Miami yesterday. It was like a 2.5 hour drive. Okay. At like 10 a.m. Okay. That's just not feasible. Not feasible.
No.
So how would you solve that? If you had engineers like this, you probably have the same situation going on that you have. If you got engineers like Jen, she'd probably create double-decker highways, the boring tunnels. She would just create all sorts of different methods.
Air travel.
maybe short commute air travel or double-decker highways where one flow of traffic goes one way, one flow of traffic goes the other way, just crazy ideas to make a super metropolitan city not a pain in the ass to just get to and from work.
Yeah. I've heard a lot of traffic that exists actually occurs without there ever actually being an incident. Like there's no accident, there's nobody that got pulled over. It's just a lot of like elasticity in the cars moving. So you have one person that hits their brakes. Yeah, they hit their brake for a moment. It's like, oh, big deal. But then the person behind them hits their brakes, and then that reaction continues and compounds until it's like, all right,
chain reaction.
Yeah, we've got
ads and ads.
Yeah, it's crazy. So imagine a world where all driving was. I mean, honestly, I don't like
you just
this
put your
idea
car in
of
the
world.
track.
I love having some cars that I can drive.
Me neither.
And
I hate it.
I love that. But imagine a world where all cars drove themselves and there was nobody slamming their brakes, and you can get from wherever you are to Miami in much less time than it took you yesterday.
Well, what if you made those? What if you made everybody retake a driving test and you had to really excel at driving to be allowed to drive your car, and everyone else had to be put on the auto tracks? Like you have to put your car on the auto tracks and you stay on there.
Listen, my grandmother, God bless her, did not have a lot of business, driving. You know what I think I would be okay with, right? Like, what if there was a dedicated road or a dedicated highway for those kinds of vehicles? Like, forget I-95, forget the turnpike. I don't know, where everybody listening to this is from, so maybe some of those will resonate with you, but forget those roads. Like, what if you had a separate road where all like computer controlled vehicles ran on, and you could then make that decision? I think I'd totally be okay with that, because then I still have the freedom to, go ride a motorcycle, which I don't have, or go drive a, gas powered car or even electric powered car that I'm driving myself.
That would be terrific. That would
wherever
be terrific.
I want. But you've got a dedicated place for those computers. Like, I'd be cool with that.
Look, if that auto track is moving at like 90 miles an hour, and we're just flying through there, and I'm getting to wherever I want to go like in 10 minutes, then I'm absolutely doing that. Like 100% doing that. And then there's like a button for exits and stuff like that.
100%. Yeah. I'm going to go submit that idea to Tesla, because man,
I'm sure they've thought
man, that's like one hell of a case study for them. We have our own highway. And by the way, everybody that uses our highway gets where they want to go 80% quicker. I'd be like,
they've talked about that. He's also talked about boring tunnels and stuff. But that whole bottleneck thing, there's a great book called The Goal. If you take an operations management class in business school.
I don't, but I do operations for work.
Not you,
so
Zach.
cool.
Anyone out there, not you. I know you will not take that. But anybody out there who takes it, the book The Goal is great if you're a business owner. It's a good one. Okay, moving on here. The plan is to send a probe. Jin is kind of made in charge of these small-brained engineers, even though they're world-leading engineers. And now the goal really is to find somebody who can help design the sail, which leads Jin to try to recruit Auggie, who is still dealing with some PTSD from the Panama slaughter. I
like your brand for it.
Remarkably, she's remarkably bouncing back, I think, about as good as you can without being labeled a sociopath. I know Wade is fine and everything, and the greater good aspect, I think it can be understood. Raj is kind of the Wade ilk, but feels a little more sociopathic for some reason. He doesn't seem like affected at all. But
Wade?
There's a burden also. Not
or
Wade.
Raj.
Wade and Raj don't seem affected, but we don't see enough of Wade in private moments. So, and Raj is he has to not divulge classified info. So technically he can't say anything about the mission, and Auggie is breaking protocol.
Well, Auggie only said something happened. Go talk to Raj. Go talk to your boyfriend.
Dude, Augie's like a mass murderer.
Oh, I know. I mean, honestly, like I'd give props to Auggie. Auggie didn't break protocol. She just said like, go fucking talk to your boifriend about what happened in Panama. Like she didn't say shit. She didn't say like I'm responsible for killing like 100 people. And kids. She didn't say that.
Yeah, but she threw him under the bus and pretty much made it like if Raj did the opposite, he would have been like, go ask Auggie. Go ask Auggie what down, and then it would have been flipped.
Yeah, no, all right. I hear you, but I'm much more okay. I mean, first of all, it totally fits Augie's character, but I don't really think that she broke protocol necessarily. She didn't divulge any information. It was just like it was a prompt. Go talk to your boyfriend, and then Jin ends up getting the same security clearance that Raj has. So I mean, they kind of talk about it, and I would also say, look. What happened in Panama here was not good. Well, I mean, it wasn't good for the people on the boat, but I kind of get it in war, and this is not like a small war. Like this isn't even like if you took the scale of World War I or World War II, this is on top of that, dude. This is like interplanetary war. Like I think I would forgive some stuff that went down to try and help the rest of the entire freaking planet live.
The issue isn't Jin doesn't have an issue with the action itself. She has an issue with the way he's responded to the action and the fact that he's shown almost zero effect from it. Like
that's
fair.
That's fair.
One thing is to understand like that it was necessary. If we can even argue that. We did talk about the fact that what if it sliced that hard drive in half? We talked about the various scenarios of how they said
if they destroy that hard drive, that whole mission was pointless.
No, till this day, the funniest thing is the fact that they literally say we want to avoid a bloodbath.
Mm-hmm.
And they literally slice everybody into quarters.
They killed everyone. They killed everyone. Every single human being on that ship.
In the boat. Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
Do you buy this whole thing about the Santi apparently not being able to lie? I know they're really pushing this, but Wade says they can't lie. They have 2 Sophons. Is this going to be like a giant reveal that the Santi say, of course we know how to lie. It didn't take us 13 millennia to innovate lying.
It's a great question.
Also, if they can't lie, how is there a pacifist faction just chilling and not...
No. Yeah, well, that very valid question. I'm undecided on this. I think it's okay. I think it's really early. My current, as of this minute, gut feeling on whether or not that's true is that I think it's true that the Santi cannot lie to each other, given the fact that we understand that there is some sort of hive mind or linked element between all of the Santi, but I do think it's possible that the Santi could lie to something that is not a Santi. So that's kind of where I'm at right now, mentally at least.
I have no idea whether they can lie or not.
I mean, all right. So let's talk about the lying thing, and I'm gonna say everything on the basis that they are like some sort of hive mind. Mario, if you were like the right part of my brain and I was the left part of my brain, I couldn't lie to you. Mm-hmm. I couldn't make up something without you knowing that I made that something up. Mm-hmm. But if we then spoke to somebody like, I don't know, my brother, and lied to him, he wouldn't know because he's not a part of the same mind. It's different. So in that sense, I do think that they could lie. I think they could tell mistruths, but not amongst themselves.
I'm undecided at this moment as to whether they can lie or not.
Okay.
All right, let's move on here. There's lots of stuff going on. Wade has ordered every particle accelerator to operate around the world. And now the goal is to put one on the moon as well to give them an extra 3 seconds. The goal for this is that the Sophons are apparently screwing up all of the test results. And so if they have everything running 24/7, maybe one of them can get off a test result before the Sophons screw it up. And so that's why they want to build one on the moon now. And now Raj is joining the Space Fleet team and heading to the moon, Mara Imbrium, which I had never heard of. I don't even know if it's real, but I haven't verified it. But do you think Raj is going to be the guy who's the probe?
I thought about that. I really thought about that.
That's could be a one-way mission, brother. That's a one-way mission.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's definitely a one-way mission unless you can live 400 freaking years. I thought about it. I could see it being the case. I've never heard of Maria Membra either. Like, I don't know what that is.
I could not hear anything you said the last sentence.
Nothing. I was saying I do think it's a one-way mission. Okay. Unless you can live 400 years, and beyond that, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I was also saying I've never heard of Mara Embria either.
Yeah.
Welcome to Bad Internet, everybody. Good stuff. Go ahead.
Yeah. Raj is no longer in the Navy. He's going to be the Space Fleet team, and that's pretty much what we get from Raj in this episode for the most part. Yeah. Will's able to convince Auggie to join Jin's team because Augie's apparently like super brilliant, and she's the only person who can design this nuclear sail. So I wish they would give us a little backstory on how brilliant all these people are, and why the hell Saul, if he's the most brilliant one here, why the hell he's just not back doing what he needs to do? Or we understand that he's kind of consoling Will at this moment, but the male characters of the show, aside from Jack, R.I.P., have been kind of useless. Not useless, but like not putting their talents to use at this point.
They've been useless in terms of the war against the Santi. Yes, I think that's a fair statement.
Yeah. Not counting Clarence, Wade. I'm talking about the scientist guys here.
Yeah, the smart ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, something's got to happen at some point. Well, it would be a waste of our time as viewers to not have something come out of Will, out of Saul. Something has to happen at some point. Nothing has happened at this point. So something must happen.
You want to go on with that train of thought? Or
no, I'm just going to leave it there. Mic drop.
Hey, give us a prediction. Do something.
Give you a prediction. All right. I'm pulling this out of my ass. For some reason, Auggie cannot figure out how to help Jin build the sail, and Saul helps figure it out. That's my prediction.
You think those little 2 paper sails that she put in the water will reappear as inspiration to help her solve like a critical
I thought Will was about to die in the episode when I saw that.
He was going to just walk out.
I thought he was going to just like go out and drown himself for a moment. I'm like, no, you have a mission. I don't know. If I had to predict something, I would predict that. Because dude, we're now 6 episodes into, what is it? An 8 episode season?
Mm-hmm.
And they haven't done anything but smoke weed in a marsh.
Yeah.
Or drop acid, I should say. And get cancer terminally.
Those have been the core events, yeah.
Yeah.
The problem of deceleration apparently is going to be solved. The nuclear sail decelerating is going to be solved because they're sending the person to space instead. Auggie arrives to work. We don't see much more after that. And then we get a couple more things. What I think is Ye Wenji's confession, where she says that she's made a mistake based on her past beliefs. And now I think she's on the human side. And then Will buys a star. And that is, and they probably paid a lot of money for that Lana Del Rey song at the end of this episode.
Yeah, but I mean, dude, Lana Del Rey is great. It's a good. It's a good song. It's not my favorite Lana Del Rey song, but
which is your favorite? I don't know her music a ton, but
I liked a long time ago when it first came out. I liked "Summertime Sadness." That's a banger.
Okay.
I've heard that song with like so many remixes though. It's good. Outside of that, I feel ashamed to say I don't know many of the names of her songs, but I would notice them in a heartbeat. Like in a lot of shows and movies I watch, I'm like, oh, that's Lana Del Rey, but I can't think of any other names.
Some fan you are. All right, to the categories.
I'm not a fan. I just like it. I don't know what to say. Okay, we'll go to the categories. Let's start with favorite scene, and I feel like I know your favorite scene in this episode. I think your favorite scene is Auggie having alcohol poisoning.
Auggie having alcohol poisoning?
Yeah, she was throwing up.
That was not my favorite scene in this episode.
I figured. I was just joking, dude. Just joking.
Sorry, no, you have to understand your internet's cutting out on my end, so sometimes when you're saying things, I'm deciphering it after the fact. So if I'm slow to respond, it's because I'm hearing like the first word and then I'll hear the last word and I'm like, I think he said this.
No worries. It's the same on my end too.
I think my favorite scene, man, I do like the scene where Jin gives her pitch for the explosions, like the of what they're gonna do there, and then Wade's response, like, "You think I'm gonna die with my agency having done f all before we like?" I love that because we talked about that. Like, are we gonna get a time jump here, or are we gonna get what's gonna happen? Because it's 400 years. All right, well, what's gonna happen with this show? But that's probably my favorite scene. That's probably my favorite line too.
I think I was gonna say that's my favorite line of the episode. From Wade there. Man, my favorite scene of this. It's rough. It's really a hard one to pick. Like this is one of those episodes where there's not like necessarily some big pivotal moment that happens, right? Like this was not an action-packed episode. This was like if I had to say any episodes we've seen so far was kind of a filler episode, it was probably this one, but it was done very well. Like don't take that in a negative light. I liked the story that we got here. I liked the background. I feel like it's hard to put my finger on one point. But I'm liking the development that I'm seeing with Will, and Saul, merely because I feel like it's leading up to something epic. I don't know what it's gonna be.
If the next episode he's just in a casket,
so I fucking quit. If the next episode he's in a casket, I'm done. That's crazy. I'm
really waiting for the Saul character. What's going to be the character moment for him?
It's got to be both of them, though. I mean, Will, this entire show's been just like this shy individual that's now gonna die. Like he hasn't taken any risk. He hasn't done anything. He's got to do something. So Saul and Will have to do something. I mean, Jin and
Saul's gonna get back
Auggie
to work
have done
on the
so
particle
much.
Accelerators.
Yeah,
anything. Saul's gonna be put in charge of the particle accelerators more than likely.
Like literally, dude, anything. I would take anything at this point. But
all right, next up.
Next up's favorite line. I think we kind of covered that one. Okay. Unless you have a different line in mind.
No, I did like when Ye says, "What will you be remembered for, Jin?" And she says, "As someone who fought back." That was a good line.
That was solid.
I also liked Saul saying, like, to Auggie, "You're beautiful, but in the boring way. Like you would be the lead actress in Speed 3." I thought that was pretty funny. That was pretty good.
Yeah, I still feel like there's something that we're gonna see with Saul and Auggie at some point. I don't know what. Probably some rekindling of their past relationship that occurred before this show started.
For sure.
Yeah. Okay. Favorite character? I got mine. I think it's pretty obvious though.
Let's give this one to Jin.
Yep, that's the one. I knew you were gonna say it too.
Yeah.
And Jin took it. It was a good episode for her. Like this was her episode. So let's get into predictions. Where do you think we're going from here?
It's hard to tell, but I mean, they have to start gearing up Saul and Will's character for something. I'm assuming Saul gets roped into the particle accelerator business because his research was shut down, and I would like to see him get back to that. I'm assuming Wenji is going to be sort of operating sneakily and getting involved on how to stop the Santi, so she'll become pivotal in a major way, and then there will be like a moral conflict. Like, do we work with the traitor who's now saying she's turned and working with us, and could she turn on us again? Could she be working with them still? Tatiana has to show up again, so we're gonna find out what the hell's up with her.
That's true. I forgot about her.
And I don't know what's gonna happen with Will. He looks really sick in this episode, and he just bought a star. He just wasted all of his money. At least I think he did. How much would a star be?
19.5. He got like 21, 20, 22, somewhere around there. So a lot of money he just spent on that star out of his entire portfolio.
Was that how much it was?
Yes, that's okay. After taxes. After taxes,
I got a little confused because I accidentally went a little past episode 6, and I saw the first minute. No, it was literally the first minute or two of the episode, and I just heard that figure, I think. But I could be wrong. I don't remember what it was, because I turned it off the moment I realized that the episode had skipped over to 7.
No, I remember him. I swear, man, it was like really close to 19.5 million that he spent on that star. And if I remember from the last,
it sounds like you skipped over to 7 too.
No, I didn't. It was at the last. Info. It was at the end of this episode.
I don't think that info is in.
No. You remember when Will was going through like that museum, right? Like there's that LED wall and everything like that. That's where you hear that it was 19.5 million.
You sure about that?
Right. It was at that moment. I might be off by like $1 million, but yes, that's where I heard that.
I'll fact check you later.
Because it ran to credits after that, and I turned it off because I didn't want to see anything in the background from the next episode.
I will fact check you later, sir. What are your predictions before we close this episode out?
I don't know that I have, predictions on this one so much as I have like questions and just random thoughts. Like, we've been thinking for a while. Well, I don't want to say we've been thinking for a while. I've been wondering, at the very least, like, are we going to have a time jump? And at this point, I think the answer is no. I think we're so invested into the characters that it would be anticlimactic is maybe the word I want to use to introduce new characters for us to get used to or something like that. For a time jump, I don't think that's going to be the case. I also think that it's going to be very difficult to keep the show very interesting with an enemy that is 400 years away and nothing on Earth that is important. Now, yes, that could be Tatiana. You reminded me of that just now. And I had these thoughts before I remembered her name. But I feel like that's a good argument for Ye still being on the side of the Santi. Like, I feel like that, like, closeness and proximity would add a lot of interest to the show. And if this show just keeps getting better and better, which it actually has so far, I find it hard to believe that we're now going to have a united Earth against the Santi. So I still think, and I suppose this is my prediction, it's based off of my bet earlier, I still think that we are going to have, some faction, some group of people that believe in the Santi, that are against the humans trying to fight the Santi. But that's kind of it. That's kind of where I'm at. That, and I don't think we're going to have a time jump. I just don't. I could see this show being drug on for a few seasons as a build up to this interplanetary war.
Yeah,
I hope all that came through.
Definitely see some factions coming out of this. Most of it. All right. I do think there's going to be some human turmoil, to echo your point there. But
yeah.
All right, let's get to an outro here. Zach, thank you all for tuning in to this episode of Story Archives. We hope you're enjoying our coverage of Three Body Problem. Stay tuned for our coverage of episode 7. And as always, make sure if you are enjoying this podcast to review it, rate us 5 stars on whichever platform you listen to us on, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. So thanks for listening. And as always, you can email us at contact@soapbox.house with any of your show commentary. So until next time, take care, and we will see you on the next episode.
All right, have a good one. Go buy a star.